love these power hours. So I was just on the phone with a prospective member, and we're talking about all the different aspects of the Outlier project. And I said, obviously the Legend series and stuff like that. And yesterday we had Andy Reese, who's the leadership coach for the Chicago Bears. Like that stuff gets a lot of attention. Um, but so much of the magic is we've got 750 members that all have these special gifts and areas of expertise, and tapping into that through these power hours is so much fun. And really is what the community to me is all about. Like I love the top advisor stuff. I love the author spotlights. I love the legend series. I love all that stuff, but the power hours are really cool because the spotlight is then on you guys to share, what you're a subject matter expert in, and to talk about that. So Dr. John Page and I have had some very I think interesting discussions. And each one gets me more and more excited. I think of, we all talk about living an extraordinary life, and our ability to live an extraordinary life means that all these different buckets that we have that dictate whether we are living that extraordinary life have to be filled up. And so you've got a career bucket and a finance bucket and a relationship bucket and a learning and development bucket. But you've got this health bucket, and the health bucket is your physical health, your mental health, and your spiritual health. And it's, arguably the most important bucket, because if you don't have that stuff, nothing else really matters. You can have all the money in the world, but if your health bucket is depleted, you're in big trouble. And I think what's cool is the health, physical health, and even mental health is relatively easy to talk about. But anything like you start to talk like spirituality or anything like that, it's like, oh my, that's like the what do they call it, third rail or whatever. Like if you touch it, you're gonna get electrocuted, you're gonna die. Um, and my conversations with John have been so refreshing. And I think a huge part of it for me is that open-mindedness that he has around this subject, and that there's no like, oh, this is the right answer and only this, and if you fit into this. So anyway, I've just thoroughly enjoyed my discussion. So I guess, John, why don't you give everybody a little bit of background on you, and then we'll just dive in.
Yeah, glad to. First off, can everybody hear me okay? We're good? Excellent. All right. I am a retired minister, still ordained. I'm just no longer in the church, moved into spiritual advising. So that's the spiritual part of it. Also, back in the day, I used to be a fitness class instructor. I don't know if you've heard of Les Mills Body Pump.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. I used to teach that class, which I know you can tell. Wow. It's very apparent. But as I did that, I got into the class a lot. How our body moves, how our body responds, and so forth. And so I just began to bring those two together. How our bodies can get involved in our spiritual practices. And so that's what I'm going to go over with y'all today. Just a couple of foundational things. I'm going to use the term God. If you have another term, universe, higher power, that's fine. I'm not going to go through the whole litany of synonyms, right, every time I bring it up. So you just insert the term that works for you, and we'll be okay. But that was just my interest, is that instead of spirituality being static, right, there's some involvement to it. There's some movement in what we're doing. At our end of our time together, I am going to lead us through a very brief kind of evening movement, a way to close off your day with some movement and some spirituality mixed together. I hope you can stay around for that. If you can't, catch it on the replay, that's fine. But that's the intent of what we're going to do. I'd also like for it to be interactive. So if you have a question or you need clarification on something I'm saying, or you want to interject, don't worry. Raise your hand, point to me, something, and let me know. I can't see everybody, but feel free to just let me know you need to talk, and I will fold that in. Before we get into all that, I did want to ask, if you can, if you're comfortable with sharing, what did you want out of this time? When you saw the Power Hour, maybe you saw me, or you know me, or maybe you just saw the topic, but what were you expecting to come from this time? If you can real quick, just kind of shout that out to me, it'd be great.
Don't be shy.
I guess I honestly had no expectations. This is my first Top Talk. However, I am in the spiritual field. Spirituality really is the foundation of my life and my work. And so I thought this would be a great Top Talk for me to attend. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to share.
Okay, great, Selene. Thank you. Yeah, Julio?
Yeah, same. No specific intention. I read scripture every day. I listen to spiritual podcasts every day. You know, I'm on this journey to know God, which has been extremely difficult, but I keep at it. So.
Understood. All right. Anybody else? And if you don't, that's fine. Amy, yeah.
Well, similar to Selene, my spirituality is my foundation. I'm about all things spiritual. I'm very open-minded. I'm very woo, so I can go all the way woo.
Sure.
So I was just really open to seeing what your perspective is and what you have to say.
All right, cool.
Thank
I don't
you.
know how woo I'll get, but maybe
You
I'll
don't have
throw
to
a
get
little woo
woo.
in for you, just to help you out. Yeah, Charlie.
I am a woman of faith. I am a daughter of the King. Those are my personal beliefs. And so, yeah, John and I connected, a couple weeks ago, and learned a little bit about what he does. And so I want to see him start his stuff. And one of my main reasons for being here is just to support you, John. So no pressure, but I'm looking forward to it. Seriously, no pressure.
Appreciate it. No pressure at all. All good. Well, I hope I will meet
I think Bruce and Robin have some stuff too.
Yeah. What else?
You opened this can of worms, John.
Yeah,
so.
no, I can't see everybody. If you can see them, that's great. Let me know. Keep it going.
Next time I'm raising my digital hand.
There we go.
So John, kind of like what Charlie just said, I'm here to support you. We had a lovely exchange on LinkedIn a few weeks ago. I can't even remember the topic now. It's something I posted, but also as I've gotten older, spirituality has become increasingly important to me, as has just good health overall and being on a health kick over the past 2 years.
Agreed.
Robin.
Hey, John, I'm here because I wanted to support you. I know we support each other on LinkedIn, and it was just good to put a face with the comments. And also, I didn't really know specifically what you do. And I'm very upfront about this. I'm Jewish. And yesterday and today is the Jewish New Year. And we say L'chaim, which is to life. And living, and what my purpose is for the new year is to just bring life to other people. And I believe we can do that non-denominationally. However, everyone can still have their own belief. And so I really love this conversation, and I'm excited to see what you're going to share with us.
All right, cool.
What was the greeting, Robin? What was the greeting again?
It's called L'chaim. In your throat. L'chaim. Yeah, it means to life.
Reminds me Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
Yes, I also wanted to add, as a fellow member of the tribe, Robin, Lashana Tova is, what you customarily say on the Jewish New Year, which is to wish somebody a happy New Year.
Absolutely.
And this is the beginning of the 10 days of awe, is it not?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rosh Hashanah.
With Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement.
Yep.
Correct.
I'll I'll wrap it up. You know, and I've had these discussions with John before. So I grew up in a super duper religious home, but very, very, very dysfunctional. And it very much turned me off to organized religion, despite the fact that I'm a big believer that there is a higher power, but I don't care what you call it, and I just think people have screwed up something that's very beautiful because they want power, money, whatever. And so I come from that lens of just a horrendous experience as a kid growing up, but still with a very strong belief. So I would say I'm very spiritual, but not religious, and I don't even know if that's the right terminology. But anyway, John and I have had these fascinating discussions. So that's really, why I was so excited about today.
All right. Well, let us get into it. Thank you all for sharing that with me. It gives me a little better understanding of who you all are and where you're coming from and so forth. And as Scott mentioned, we do have a health bucket. I talk about it in mind, body, and spirit. A lot of times that can get segmented, right? We just pay attention to the mind or just to the body or just to the spirit. But if we can get those three ingrained and unified, we're a much better expression of who we are. We're a much fuller expression of who we are. We feel better. We do better. We love better. We work better if we can get mind, body, and spirit in alignment with one another. And so my part of that is try to get the body and the spirit together, right? I think we'll also kick in with the mind, but we'll see as we go. We'll see as we go. But you may know from personal experience, what you've seen on TV or movies, that people from different religions, different faith experiences do already kind of move some. When I was in a mosque, visiting several mosques, I would watch as Muslims would pray and they kneel down, they prostrate themselves to the ground, or they'll turn to the left or they'll turn to the right. And what they're doing, and many Muslims, not all, but they believe there's an angel on one side and an angel on the other. And they're turning, when they turn their heads and pray, they're saying, bless you by Allah. May his peace be upon you, to each side, right? Was in Jerusalem at the Western Wall or the Wailing Wall. And in those massive stones, these are the size of cars, some of these stones. And in between the crevices are all these rolled up pieces of paper where they will place their prayers there. And devout Jews will be at the wall and they're rocking, right, as they pray. Their bodies are involved in what they're doing as they pray. Some Christians in their worship service, they'll lift their hands as they worship or sing or pray. Yoga is one big giant physical movement that's embedded with spiritual undertones, right? Tai Chi can be embedded with spiritual understanding if you want it to as well, right? So you've seen these examples, you know that it happens, but how often do we do that in our daily life, in our daily spiritual practices? Catholics, don't want to leave Catholics out. They will kneel as they pray. They got kneeling benches right there. I was in an audience, I was talking to, I don't know, 500 or 600 people. And I said, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and like 8 or 10 people, without any prompting, automatically just went like this, right? The muscle memory was already there for them, that just by saying the words, they knew their body was in motion because that's what they had practiced for so long, right? And so when we get our bodies involved in our spiritual practices, it deepens the connection to God. It deepens the understanding of who we are as spiritual beings. And as we do that, and I'm noticing this as I get older and older, the more neurons I can get firing in my brain, the better, right? I've got a mom with dementia. I had a father-in-law with Alzheimer's. I want to get as many neurons firing as possible. When our body and our spirit and our mind get together, those neurons pop, 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 pop. They're building and connecting. And so the more we can do that, the better it is. Give you another example. I was at a hospital visit with an elderly person. She was 86. She had lost the ability to speak because of a stroke. But as her family members surrounded her and sung hymns to her, spiritual songs to her, she began to move her mouth, even though she couldn't make sound, because her body and her mind remembered the spiritual connection to this spiritual practice, even after something medically had taken that from her body. So it instilled in me this deep understanding, this deep appreciation for how we are not separate, we're united, we're together. You'd all have mentioned some of the spiritual practices that you do. One thing you might want to do is whatever spiritual practice you do, maybe it's in the evening, maybe it's in the morning, maybe it's at midday, maybe it's throughout the day, is attach some sort of movement to it. I'm going to go through some. They may not apply to you, but I'm just putting them out as examples to just give you the idea of how something like this would work. So the rosary, it's a string of beads that Catholics will use. They'll say Our Father or Hail Marys to it, which is great. But you can also use it to, instead of saying that, is pray for a different person every time your fingers are going around with the bead. Or you can give thanks to somebody every time you touch a different bead. You don't even need a rosary. You just need a bracelet with some beads on it, right? You can accomplish the same thing. A lot of recovery groups, or if you've been to a funeral at all, you probably have heard the Lord's Prayer or the Serenity Prayer. These things are said in groups, most often when we're standing. If you pray, whatever your prayer practice is, you probably pray sitting. How many of you, if you pray sitting down, typically? Sometimes, yep, okay. Try it standing up. You can't pray standing up. You've got to be seated or kneeling. Well, no, you don't. You can pray in any posture, right? So if you pray sitting, try it kneeling if you're able, and see how your body responds to praying as you kneel. Robin, yeah, you pray standing up. Okay, if you pray standing up, try it sitting. See if something else pops up. The point is to get your body shaken up a little bit. If you're used to doing it in one way, try it in a different posture. See what your brain does with that. See if a connection deepens at all. If you're really daring and you're praying, try laying face down on the ground and see what that does as you pray to God or higher power. See if that doesn't do something in your brain and in your body to deepen a connection with what's going on inside of you. Prayer. You can do it while walking. Many of you probably walk around your neighborhood, you walk around the block, you walk on a treadmill. Next time you're out walking, try praying for your neighbors. What if I don't know them? That's fine. God's big enough. He probably knows, who these people are, right? And as you're walking and you pass their house, just like with your hand, just say, I bless that household with peace. I bless that household with love. I bless that household with kindness. Will it have some dramatic fact on that family that's in that house? I don't know. But it probably will have a different effect on you as you go about your walk and you're paying attention to someone other than yourself and you're praying for them and blessing them, and see what that does. Wow, John, I don't want to do that, man. That's when I listen to my audiobook. Okay, fair enough. But just once, just give it a try and see what happens. Just give it a try. If you pray or if you meditate, some of you may meditate. It probably is hard to meditate in any other position than sitting or kneeling because you're trying to focus in and clear your mind and so forth. But just a simple posture, right, of opening your hands to receive. Let your body know, I am placing myself in a position so that I can receive what I need today, what I need right now. Yeah, talk about nature. Yeah, being outside in nature. Have you ever hugged a tree? Not going environmental crazy. Hear me
I
out here.
sniff
All right?
them. Sniffing pine trees is amazing because they actually smell like vanilla ice cream. And so I am a tree sniffer.
Yes, there we go. We got a new movement, tree sniffers. Awesome. I see a merch line already. It's ready to go. Right? If you're out in nature and you connect with nature, that's where you get a sense of the divine or something bigger and beyond yourself. Get your senses involved in that, right? Touch the tree and feel the bark, sniff the flowers or the pine straw that's underneath your feet. I mean, your senses, your eyes, let your eyes really see what is really there. The intricate patterns on the back of the leaf, or the bee that's getting pollen in the flowers that are nearby, that kind of thing. The more our senses, our body gets involved in our spiritual practices, the deeper the connection we get and the more fulfilled we are, right? We're not just going through the motions, as it were. I mean, we don't want to just fake it just because we think we're supposed to. That kind of creates an emptiness. Well, I'm going to just, do this because I've always done it. And give yourself more enjoyment of life than that. Let everything be a part of that. If you're really daring, you could taste something in nature. Be careful, though, but sniff it, smell it, see it, feel it, right? If you're reading a spiritual text, maybe it's the Torah or the Bible or some other religious text, or really anything that's meaningful to you. How many of you, when you read, do you read out loud? You say it as you read it, or do you read silently? Silent readers, for the most part, yeah. Here's an experiment for you to try. As you're reading a religious text, a spiritual text, something that's meaningful to you, read it with your eyes, say it with your lips, and hear it with your ears. 3 senses involved instead of just one. You're tripling, you're 3xing your connection, right? I can't promise a 10x your life with that, but you can at least 3x it, right? Speak it, hear it, and see it. And see if that doesn't help you grasp what's being said a little bit better. Maybe it's worth repeating, right? I'm going to pause at this point just for a second. Any kind of questions or clarifications thus far? Not sure I can see everyone. It doesn't look like there are. Yeah, Julio.
Oh, sure. So my struggle in praying is how do I explain this? Is being like, oh gosh, I have so much to do. I don't have time for this. I want to just check the box, things that are going through my mind, but it's hard for me to like quiet down, slow down, and have a conversation with God because I'm so anxious to get to work, to get to my thing because I'm in control. And I know, so that's my struggle.
Yeah, no, I hear that. It's not unusual for that. You are, I mean this in the best way possible. You are absolutely perfectly average and normal in that, right? That's that for an expectation that we want to get to it. One thing I might encourage you to do, if you want to do that, is as you come to your time of prayer, take your hands, right, and literally I lay down my expectations. Right? What I want right now, I'm going to put down and release. All right. I'm going to put this away for now. It sounds very simple. It sounds kind of hokey. And you know what? It could be hokey. It's fine. Hokey's fine. But what it's doing as you're doing this little simple motion, it's triggering your brain, right, Julio, to say, I'm not here to go after what I want. I'm here to receive from someone who's bigger than me, from God, from that which is beyond me. And so that little simple motion of I lay down my expectations helps your brain trigger, and that can then help your spirit be more at peace, so that you can be in a receptive mode instead of a doing mode. Does that make sense? Amy, you said something about visualization. I can't read all the notes, but can you just voice that out for me?
Yeah, sure. So if I have a lot going on in my mind or I have a very specific concern, I visualize physically handing it over to universe, God, source. And when that happens, my shoulders just automatically just relax and I can just breathe better. So that's very powerful for me.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Just the simple rolling of your shoulders, right, can release some tension. Instead of coming into a spiritual practice, whatever it is, like, this and right, just getting your posture erect gets all the neurons and the nerves in your spine aligned and so forth, and rolling your shoulders back kind of gets you where you need to be. That breathing, right? If you don't know Ashley Beck Cuellar, ABC, many of you probably do. She often has breathing videos on her LinkedIn page. She's not unique to it, but it's simple, right? 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds hold. Go through that 3 or 4 times. That can put you into a more peaceful, receptive place to receive that kind of thing, right? Any other insights, questions? All right, Derek, good, thank you. Any other questions or that kind of thing? We're good? All right. I am going to actually get you out early, partly because I don't have an hour of stuff to talk to you about. I know it's called a power hour. That's cool. We'll call it a power 40 minutes. How about that? But for a long time, I was in a ministry setting that had a large deaf population. In the state where I am in Georgia, the actual Georgia School for the Deaf was located in this tiny little town. And so many in the congregation were deaf. And when I first arrived, when I would speak, whatever it was, the announcements, the sermon, what have you, there would be a translator next to me who was signing American Sign Language as I spoke. And so the first time I was there, I said, do I need to pause, to wait for you to translate? Because that's how I would work with translators before. I would speak in English, the person would then translate in Spanish or whatever language I was in the country where I was. So that's what I was used to. Speak a little, translate, speak a little, translate. And this guy, he's 72. He just looked at me with pity, with love, but with pity. He said, don't worry about it. I got you taken care of. You just speak. I'll take care of the translation. Okay, man, ready to go. I trust you. So I began to speak and he would do the sign language. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. When I was not up front speaking and I got a chance to watch the translator, I wouldn't pay attention to the speaker. I would pay attention to the translator, because that's where the beauty was. American Sign Language is a very physical, very visual language, right? Your facial expression, where your hands are in relation to what the sign that's being signed is vital important. And so in that experience, I began to appreciate more fully how our movement can bring out the beauty of the spiritual, of the divine. And Scott was mentioning this earlier. I hope I don't shock you, but I'm going to say it as my friend told me. He said, look, the beauty of the divine has been covered up with a lot of bullshit. I'm like, well, that's an excellent way to put it. And so what I'm hoping from this time together and in your own life and your own practices, that you can literally grab hold of the beauty of the divine, the beauty of the spiritual, so that your life is more full. We can't ignore the spiritual aspect of who we are. I mean, 90% of the world believes in some type of God or divine figure. 90% of what, 8 billion? That's a lot of people. That's a lot of belief or faith and spirituality at work. Yeah, at concerts. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's incredible. It's really fun to watch them at like a rap concert. Oh my gosh, they are moving. I mean, they got to go. It's wonderful to watch. They're very, very talented, right? So what I'm going to lead you through is how I end my day. It may not be how you want to end your day. That's fine. I just want to give it to you as an example. You can use it, not use it, but it's a way to end the day so that you can enter into your nightly rest in a more peaceful kind of way. There's 3 kind of things. I'm going to go through it and I'm going to have you all practice it with me, not out loud, but just the motion so you get it. But what I start with is I release and I let go of 1, 2, 3 things. It's not a laundry list. It's not everything. It's just enough for today. And the sign is literally you putting your fingers together like a chain link, right? I release and let go, right? So the link together, this problem, this situation, this scenario, I release and let go. Now, how did that feel? If you feel the tension of your fingers pulling at each other, now when you release it, I release and let go. You don't even have to move your arms, right? The momentum of releasing puts your arms and your hands outward. It's literally pushing it out. So in that movement, you would say, I release and let go of my frustration with a guy who cut me off in traffic today. I release and let go of my worry about my future clients and whether I'll get sales. I release and let go of whatever it is. 1, 2, 3 things. Not a lot, just enough for today. And after you've released that, then you move into, I forgive myself for. Now I'm going to show you the sign. It's going to look like I'm peeling off dollar bills in Vegas. It's not, okay? But the sign is your hand is flat and it's not this, right? That's the dollar bills. I forgive myself. You're literally wiping the slate clean from today. I forgive myself. Forgive myself. Thumb toward your body. Let's see if I can do it this way. Forgive myself, right? So you're wiping the slate clean from today and granting forgiveness for yourself. This really doesn't have a salvation kind of thing to it or whatever. It's literally letting yourself off the hook, right? That you're not carrying this into your night and into the following day. It's saying, I know I messed up. I screwed up on this, this, and this. Again, 1, 2, 3 things, not a laundry list of stuff. But I forgive myself. In that movement, I'm wiping the slate clean from my screw ups, my mistakes, my bad judgments, my terrible decisions, my impatience, my anger, my whatever. And I'm forgiving myself so that I can then move into I am grateful for. Right? Your hands are here, they're moving toward yourself like you're receiving it. I am grateful for. You're bringing gratitude into yourself because you've already released, you've already wiped the slate clean and forgiven yourself. And now I am grateful for. 1, 2, 3 things. If you want to go more here, do it. You can go to 4 or 5 if you want. Just push the limit. I mean, just go for it. You may find you can't stop. And that's the point. But you can release the nonsense in your life. And you can forgive yourself for your screw ups. You can receive the gratitude and gratefulness that is yours. You're worth the gratitude. You're worth and valued to be grateful, to receive thanks. You're worth it, you see. And because you've released and forgiven, then that gratefulness that you're bringing into yourself, it's coming from outside of you. It's coming from that which is beyond you. It's coming from that which is divine, that is spiritual. And you're bringing it into yourself each evening, right? So one more time, we're just going to go through it again. If you can, really do the hand motions. Link your fingers. I release and let go. I forgive myself. And I'm grateful for. Just for fun, you don't have to tell me. I will never know. But just try it tonight. Try it one time. Just try it one time, right? And because you're outliers, I will triple dog dare you to try it, right? Some of you need a little oomph, right? I triple dog dare you to try it and just see how you feel, what it does for you internally, how it puts your mind at ease, at rest. And if it doesn't do something positive for you, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on the top site, whatever. You contact me and said, John, you are so full of crap. That was a bunch of nonsense. It didn't work at all. Somehow, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it will be meaningful to you and helpful to you. So whatever it is you do in your spiritual life, and you know what it is specifically, but try somehow, get your body involved in what you're doing. It builds muscle memory, and it also will help deepen a connection to that which you call divine. And that is how you can get your body involved in spiritual practices. That's all I got, man. A power of 40 minutes.
That was tremendous. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Thank you.
And if you need any clarifications, questions, if you don't feel comfortable doing it here and amidst the crowd, that's fine. You can get a hold of me in DMs, messages, emails, whichever. I'm here to help you in any way I can.
This is really, really good. Thank you. It's a big gift.
Y'all are very welcome. I appreciate y'all taking some time to be here for this time. I know you've got things you could be doing. And I was just a little miffed at Ashley because she moved her block party to 12 on Fridays.
I know.
Like, man.
ABC killing us.
How dare she do that? But
it's killing us.
Anyway, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Any last
things?
I'm gonna wipe that away.
Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. However you need to get a hold of me. But thank you for your time. That's all I got, Scott. Unless you got something else.
Beautiful. No, thank you. This is important stuff that oftentimes we shy away from for a lot of reasons. And I think just even the way you framed it made everybody very receptive to it. And that's, part of the magic of you being a very, very effective communicator and helping us to see things through a different lens. That was really good.
Thank you. Well, y'all get an extra 18 minutes in your lunch hour there, I guess.
There you go. All right, guys. Happy Friday. Have a phenomenal weekend. And thanks for joining us.
Bye.
More to come.
Take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.